We're going to call to order the Prison Board of Inspectors meeting for December 10th, 2020. We'll ask everybody, if you're not the one speaking, to please mute your microphone just so we can avoid as much feedback as possible. We appreciate that. Thank you. At this time, we are going to offer the opportunity for any public comment for items that are not on our agenda. And I'm at the chair's discretion, and I gave Prison Board of Inspectors members the opportunity to know about this ahead of time. I'm going to offer a little bit more time to a specific presenter and group of presenters. So we're going to designate 10 minutes at the top of this meeting to Maddie King, and she is leading a proposal that's going on here in Centre County. It was sent out to all prison board members as well, and we can make that widely available if Maddie would like us to for any of the attendees on the call. But I had the opportunity last week to do a virtual meeting with Maddie and some of her members of her team, and it was a very well done presentation, excellently researched, and had a lot of good components to it. And I didn't think that 5 minutes would really do it justice. So we'll give them 10 minutes, and we'll be pretty strict on that time. But after the 10 minutes, if there are any direct questions from the prison board, or any direct comments, we will allow that, and then we will take into December, into the January meeting. Our next meeting is January 14th on Thursday, and we'll take the opportunity to look at the proposal, get feedback from our staff and other members of our team in order to take it into account and see where we go from here if we would like to follow any of the recommendations that they're making. So there was a PowerPoint presentation that we're going to be sharing at this time that they have access to, and so we'd ask our team at the CCF to put that on the screen at this time, and then once that's up, we'll turn the floor over to Maddie. Okay. All right. Terrific.
Can you hear me all right?
Okay. Yes, we can, Maddie. Maddie, the floor is yours, and I'll keep track of time and give you a heads up when you're about a minute out from the 10 minutes. Okay.
I appreciate that. So good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday morning. My name is Maddie King. I'm a lifelong State College and Centre County resident, and I'm here today as a member of the public, along with some formerly incarcerated organizers who comprise our team, to introduce this proposal to the prison board and all attendees here this morning. So this proposal centers around the ways that we can help ourselves and our communities make informed decisions about public service, the kind of things that are already going on, the supports that we can provide that might be in the distant or recent future, and through data transparency. So Mike, if you could go to our kind of our shared values slide, or sorry, the team here. So why are we here this morning? So what are the guiding values as we approach this conversation today? So our contributors resonate with words like efficient and effective service, and see the ways that open, accessible information can directly benefit the work that they do every day. Do any of our contributors want to speak to one of the words as we open this conversation?
Hey, y'all. Nick Presley, former incarcerated activist. I think accountability, open government, these are two words that definitely jump out to me at all times. I currently work in decarceration or efforts across the state, but I think it's important to note that I'm coming at this not as some kind of paid staffer. This is just simply as my in my capacity as a constituency in State College. But in our efforts to make sure that when we come home from being incarcerated in CCCF, there are certain barriers to what we're trying to do. So those are the words that jump out to me the most. Thanks, Maddie.
Sure. So as we'll see on the next slide, centralizing foundational data about who incarceration affects and the ways that it operates can elevate the resource building at all stages of the process. So I broke this down into 3 steps that jumped out to me. So before someone enters our criminal justice system, we can understand what supports are needed to facilitate diversion and intervention to address the root causes of harm, and divert somebody from the kind of criminal behavior that that has somebody end up in these facilities. We can also use database knowledge to provide accurate resources and ensure rehabilitation and reconciliation are possible for every person in our facilities. And of course, the work that many of our team members do, making this information accessible to reentry specialists and community organizations who work with people after incarceration, would supplement their support of those coming back into our communities. So on the next slide, there are 3 data principles outlined in the framework of this proposal. The first being that all data should be collected. You'll see that there's a giant check mark on the sign of data collection, because we know there's already a strong culture of collection in our facilities, which is very true. Example being the monthly report we'll see later this meeting from Chris and the other folks at the CCCF. So this proposal focuses largely on needs to centralize data and make it accessible to key stakeholders who work around public safety, and also are members of our community who work with incarcerated populations. They're listed here on this slide, so people like policymakers, correctional staff and administration, supporting organizations like I mentioned and who are here today, and affected families and other specialists. So we know that we can only address the problems that we understand, and our team understands on a personal and professional level that data can transform the ways that we address harm in our So that's really the guiding focus of this proposal. And on this next slide, I want to note the inspiration of this proposal was largely based on the actions of the board. So if I could prompt the folks to move to the next slide, please. Thank you. So this is largely based on the public information surrounding the COVID pandemic that has brought forward by this board. So new to the website as a result of the pandemic have been these kind of data dashboards that we're seeing. So we're proposing basically in our proposal something much like this. It has more of a comprehensive nature to it. It has some new data fields as we'll outline. But much of the data presented in these public meetings is what we're focused around. So data reports just being an accessible place on the government website, or even on the website for the facility specifically. So so if we could move to the next slide, please. All I said here is just we have this shared value of public presentation. So moving into the first section of our proposal is something called facility metrics. So the publications on the left should be familiar to you. They're what is put forward in these monthly meetings. The Prison Board of Inspectors report. So these are many of the fields. This section is taken directly from the agenda for today's meeting and what is presented here. So, and then to the right, you'll see that we are also drawing on some national policy groups that have proposed publication of 10 data fields. I won't go too deeply into them, but I'll just talk a little bit about like reporting. So on the left, regular as data is collected, and for that I'll have to refer to the board because I don't know how often data is collected within our facilities, but we're just recommending publication on a regular basis, perhaps weekly, again, something that we'll have to collaborate on. And then further right, publication is, the recommendations are specified. So things like knowing what our population is in our facilities, which again are already being modeled by the dashboards in the previous slide. So these are just some core facility-wide metrics that are discussed in more depth in the full proposal. So I'll leave folks, if you have any specific questions, I'd very much encourage you to reach out or ask them at a time where we can definitely discuss them. But would any of our contributors like to speak to these kind of overarching facility metrics before we move on to the commitment roster?
Sure, and then I could actually just roll right into the commitment roster. That's just fine. You can leave it right there. So with these facility metrics, it's important to note that we see that now that meetings have gone virtual, there's a ton of information being put out there, and we're talking like non-identifiable information. A lot of the information that'll be shared a little bit later in this particular meeting is what we're referring to with the facility metrics. With the commitment roster, it's where we start to get a little more in depth, right? If you'll notice, there's a star next to name and any known aliases and next to case number. What we would like to see is basically, and we'll go into some examples of this in a moment, but is this information that's already being collected by the jail put out into one consistent area. Now, we recognize the need for privacy. Okay, as someone who's in reentry myself, and my colleagues on this call are also in reentry as well, I know that there is a need for privacy. However, that privacy does not exist. Okay, it doesn't exist now. There are already people who are using my information against me when it comes to looking for jobs, when it comes to looking for apartments, when it comes to even normal interactions on social media. I've had people pull out my criminal history and use it against me. So this information is already available to folks. What we would like to use it for is in order to help people as they start their time incarcerated, as they go through their time incarcerated, and as they get ready to come home from a community standpoint. So we can get this information as well, but it is not in a manner that is easily accessible and for us to be able to use it to serve as a means of aiding our friends and family members when they come home. Do you want to say anything?
I don't know that I have anything to add that you didn't already say. I mean, other than just, yeah, I understand privacy concerns. I mean, I can tell you as a person in reentry, the only thing that has ever hindered me in reentry was having a criminal record to begin with. Having, other information available, having my name on the jail's website, which it was whenever I was incarcerated, that never hurt me in any way. And I work for an organization that works with the families of incarcerated people and works with formerly incarcerated people every single day. And I have never heard of an instance of, somebody being harassed because, there was information available on a jail's website. It just has never, ever come up. It is much more likely that somebody would be looking at this information to help people, making this information available to organizations like mine and organizations like Mark Fraley's. It would help our organizations be able to help more people. And I think the chances of somebody using it for something negative are pretty low.
I want to give Krista an opportunity to say something. Krista?
I think you guys pretty well covered it. I think that the data being available is going to be beneficial to Go Reentry because we can better assess the needs that need to be met. And again, just like Jenna said, I've never had my name being on a public database used against me. It's just the fact that we have a criminal record. So that is a problem, that just comes with the nature of it. And I don't think that this is going to hurt us in any way to have this data available. It's going to help us to be able to help more people.
In the interest of time, I'll be real quick with this final comment. But if you'll note, the stuff on the left is stuff, again, that is already collected. The opt-in data on the right is stuff that people who are being incarcerated can choose whether or not they want to provide. What we care more about with the stuff on the right, you already provide as the Prison Board of Inspectors with the information you'll be providing later on in the meeting. And so that we think that that's great. And this is more of a, and I'd just like to make a note that we're more in a negotiation. Like this isn't a demand, right? We're saying, hey, these are the stuff we'd like to see, and what do y'all think is something that we can work with? So thank you for your time.
So Maddie, just a quick check, and we're at about 1 minute. Is there other slides to? Okay.
Yeah, so this is just briefly outlining county examples, but since we're conscious of our time, we can move into our final two slides. So the question that data answers are things like, who are we committing to our facilities? Like on what charges and for how long? What contributes to criminal behavior in our communities? What trends do we observe? We can analyze data to know what kinds of support we can provide to increase public safety here in Center County. So we'll just close with this simple truth that data prompts informed action. It can spur real change. So I made this like group photo of us because I know that the board likely is gathered together. So on the final slide, there's just the board and then like other members. I apologize I wasn't able to get your particular photos, but just focus around. I know that this is something we all care for our communities. We all want to see them served in the best way, and we believe the data could really help that.
Okay. Well, we appreciate everybody from the group being able to present this, and one of the things that is specifically of interest to us whenever ideas are brought in that are, could Center County Correctional Facility look at this or do this, is what are other correctional facilities across the country and specifically Pennsylvania doing? But I know because of time that you had to basically look at shortening that slide a little bit, but we could take just a moment to put that back up. I think it's important if the CCF team could just put that up for 1 second. I know it just got taken down. but it's a slide that has information regarding, and that was one of the first questions that I had was, um, uh, what are other counties doing here in the state of Pennsylvania? And do we still have that presentation that Maddie just gave? If we could share that again. Chris or Glenn, or are you there?
Yeah, we're here. The boss is working on pulling it back up.
Okay. Thank you. But it gives some, basically the point is it gives some examples of other counties in Pennsylvania that are putting data out there currently. And well, I don't want to stretch the meeting on too long. If it's okay if we're not able to pull it up. But just to review, we've had the PowerPoint can be sent around after the meeting to folks, and there's a more comprehensive PDF presentation that was sent out to the Prison Board of Inspectors members. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you. So it looks like you have Crawford, Westmoreland, Clinton, Cumberland, and the bottom. Washington. Is that Washington County in the bottom right?
That's right. Yeah, no, we have 6 examples, but only fit on the slide. 5 fit on the slide here. But no, they have multiple screenshots. Everything is in the proposal there. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Can I add something real quick, Commissioner Pipe, to this? So it's really important that Westmoreland County here is more what we're looking for. What we do not want is something like the Cumberland County one here, where it's just a list of names. We care less about names. We want to see the entire picture so we can see these people as entire people, and that'll help us determine how people need to be helped.
Okay, no, that's helpful. Thank you. So basically, to wrap everything up, we have this presentation, this request, and I think it'll be good for us to do some more dive into this from a Board of Inspectors level, also from the CCF team and the warden, his folks looking at this and giving us some feedback on this. And then in addition, our solicitor, Betsy Dupuy, would be good for her to weigh in on this and just contribute from some of the laws that have been passed, either federal or state, in terms of what we can and can't put out there. I will note that in recent years, other legislators across the legislature all across the country have passed laws that have mandated correctional facilities to put out certain information. I know most specifically, at least brought forward in the PDF, was in Florida. There was legislation passed that required each county or basically any detention center to put certain metrics out there under the assumption that more data is helpful, and so to the community and to the returning citizens themselves. So I just want to thank, if there's any direct comments from the prison board members, we can certainly allow anybody to jump in at this point. But I just want to thank Maddie and her and everybody else she's brought together around this. And the work that's been done on this. I think it's anytime that we see individuals coming towards us in any level of county government that are saying we can make improvements, there can be things that can be done differently, we appreciate that. And I think in return, we would just ask you to give us time to process it, look at it, and consider it. But we meet for folks who are just joining us for the first time, or maybe are interested in coming back, every second Thursday at 8 a.m. on the Blue Jeans link for the next few months. We'll be meeting at this time, obviously potentially going in person maybe sometime in 2021, but for the time being, for the next 4 or 5 months, we'll be looking at virtual. So I'll stop there with a word of thanks and a word of where we go from the future. But if there's any other comments from any of the prison board members, we'll certainly open them up at this time. Okay, we're hearing no other comments from our prison board members, so thank you again, everybody, for being with us today. Are there any other members of the public who would like to make comment at this time for any other topics or things that are not on our agenda? We would give people the opportunity to do so at this point. You can unmute yourself and offer comment, again, up to 5 minutes. But any other public comment? Okay, we are hearing none. Okay. All right. We are going to look for an approval of the minutes, and this would be for the November meeting. And we met on November 12th. And so we'd look for a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion to approve the November 12th meeting minutes, Commissioner Higgins.
Second, Controller Moser. It has been moved and seconded. We would look for to call the question. All those in favor of approving the minutes do so by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The motion is carried. Okay. All right. So we will jump into, and look at that. That's great. That's very festive. Absolutely festive. Yes. All right. Thank you for that, Warden. We always appreciate that. All right. So we'll turn it over to Warden Christopher Schell for his monthly reports, and then we'll take any questions after he's concluded. Warden, the floor is yours. Good morning.
Thank you, Commissioner Pipe. Good morning, all. Starting off with our returning citizen services report, our Center County Mental Health, Amy Miller, November of 19, she's seen 54. This past year, she's seen 23 in person. She's able to come into our correctional facility this time, but now that's on a delay. She's all on phone calls from this point forward now. She referred 4 to PSU Psych and 7 to Crossroads Mental Health. Dr. Wolf is still virtual meetings, 3 individuals, 3 times the last month. Crossroads is still virtual. Drug and alcohol has 2 male groups. It met 4 times this past month. Mental health, they have 5 male individuals, 4 times per month, and 2 female individuals that were seen 4 times per this past month. Center County Compass program has replaced Pride and Choice. We have 2 male groups. The total males are in the groups are 19 total returning citizens, 6 peer supports. So the 6 peer supports are actually ones that graduated from the program, and they're there being our peer supports in the unit as well as in the classroom, helping out where they need to help out. So it's really beneficial for the program right now. Something new that when we did revamp the Compass, we made sure that we had peer supports in there. After they graduate, they would stay on and help one another get through some trying times, and they've worked out real well. They met 3 times per week for 4 weeks. 1 female group with 3 returning citizen with 1 peer support. They met 3 times per week for 4 weeks. Compass graduation, we had 1 male this past November. Work release, reentry, community worker centerpiece had a total of 3 average, maintenance 0, and we had 5 on grounds. A work release, nobody eligible at this point. Work release non-eligible snapshot of December 2nd, 2020. We have 2 that refused to come down to work release, 2 for DC historical reasoning, 2 for medical, 3 are for nature of charges, 5 for pending new charges or have detainers. 1 is pending a home plan that doesn't want to come down and come down to work release area. 0 is removed from work release. 8 are in current quarantine. 3 are pending outside clearances, and we have 6 at outside clearances at this point. Center County population snapshot of Friday, November 30th, 2020, a total count of 224 returning citizens. Center County count was 135, 24 females, 111 males. County sentence was 31 out of that total, 2 females, 29 males. Unsentenced is 95, 22 females and 73 males. State sentence is 9 and it's 9 males. Tenem County population is 89, 17 females, 72 males. County sentence is 22, 1 female, 21 males. Unsentenced is 61, 16 females, 45 males. State sentence is 6 males. As you see the November 2020 daily population, how it goes across from November 1st to the 30th. The Center County population's pretty much stayed level at 32 in the beginning and 35 at the end. The Tenem County, we were at 124 and we kind of dropped down to 189. And those numbers, 124 was Huntington when they shut their jail down. That's why the count number was a little bit higher than before. Returning Citizen Services report continues. Our behavior modification status on tier 0 is 3. and on tier 4 is 19 out in general population. Our co-occurring disorder, a year ago we had 28 with 91 intakes. This past November, 19 out of 140 intakes, which is 13.6%. And only 19 were on medications upon intake. Out of that 19, 10 was from center, 3 females, 7 males, 9 from out of county, 1 female, 8 males. Suicide watch a year ago was 12. This past November was 11. 6 from center, 2 females, 4 males, 5 from out of county, 1 female, 4 males. Out of the 11, we had 1 detoxing, and that was 1 out of county, 1 female. Detox total a year ago was 15, 14 from center, 1 from another county. This past November, we had 10 detoxing, 4 females, 6 males. 7 was from center, 4 females, 3 males, 3 from out of county, 0 females, and 3 males. Our substance detox numbers, heroin and opioids were 2. They're both from center. Benzo were 2 from center. We had nobody come in on detox on meth. We had alcohol, a total of 3, 2 from center, 1 from other. We had multiple, 3, 1 heroin and benzo center, and 2 for heroin and alcohol from out of county. Our facility, our FIMAT vitriol, that has not opened back up again. So we're hoping 2021 will be open back up with new and bright areas to be able to send people out to get the Vivitrol injection. Prime care report, inpatient hospital, we had 0. That was great for our budget. COVID-19 test results, returning citizens, we had 27 positive. 18 was from the Huntington, 35 that showed up. 2 from Bedford, they were new commits. 1 was transferred from Blair County, new commitment for Clearfield. All recovered, and the other remaining were the 6 from center in April. Our total positive 27, of course. No, negative was 197, and we have 0 pending at this point. Total seen by the physician a year ago was 100. This past November was 76. Total medical transport to outside physician a year ago was 15. This year was 24 that we transported to outside physicians. Mental health clinician individuals seen a year ago, they've seen 178. This past November, they've seen 199. Psychiatric, November 19th, 2019, they've seen 127. This past November was 86. Mental health patients on psychotropic medication a year ago was 132. Our ADP at that point was 247, a percentage of 53.4 of our population. This past November, our ADP was 239. A total of 143 were on psychotropic medications, comes out to 59.8%. Daily average patient diagnosed with mental health, the totals there is incorrect. I wasn't finished there, but our total ADP was 239. Last year we had in category C was 122 with 49.4%. Category D was 34 with 13.8. This past November, category C was 147, comes out to 61.5% of our population, and category D was 28, 11.7% of our population. Mental health stability ratings. Stability code A, a total of 23 individuals, which is 11% of our population. Stability code B is 38 individuals. Category C was 124, or 60% of our population. Category D was 23, 11% of our population, with a total of 207. A weighting was 0. This was snapshot on December 4th, 2020, so those numbers are a little bit different than what the previous numbers were. Mental health stability rating by county. Stability code A, 19 males are from center, 4 males are from out of county. Stability code B is a total of 24, 23 males and 1 female from center. Out of county was 14, 11 males, 3 females. Stability code C, total of 79 from center, 57 males, 22 females. 45 from out of county, 34 males, 11 females. Stability code D, total of 10, 8 males, 2 females from center. 12 from out of county, 9 males, 3 females. Our inmate grievance report, a total of this November, we had 11, 9 grievable, 1 founded. Medical staff discussed another returning citizen's medical info while another individual was listening, addressed the medical staff, that was corrected. A year ago, we had 36 grievances. Central booking, since our central booking coordinator has been off the last 2 weeks hunting, we have no data to report at this time for that. And that's it.
Warden, thank you very much for that. We appreciate that. For the Prison Board of Inspectors members, we'll start with you all, with us. Any questions, comments on any of the monthly reports from the warden? Okay. All right. I did have one question, Chris, regarding state sentence. It looks like we're up to about 15 currently from that have been sentenced and are awaiting transfer. We do, in terms of that number, is a little bit higher than typical. It's been increasing steadily. Assumption would be that it's due to COVID. It's due to SEI seeing, what they're seeing in terms of outbreaks of COVID-19. But any thoughts on, and if that's incorrect, please correct me, but any thoughts on when we would see that number be reduced?
I'm hoping in January we can get a nice group to go down. I've been in conversation with Tom Grishaw, our county liaison. So we've been talking with him. It's been a slow process for us as well as other counties in the state to be able to transfer people into our returning citizens into the state correctional facilities. It's just a lot of metrics going on right now with everything. If they have a spike, then they stop. They put a hold on everything. So if they have a spike of increased COVID cases at Camp Hill, they hold off for 2 weeks. They allow no admittments into that. So what that happens is that pushes everybody else back. And when that pushes everybody else back, then everybody else is just backload. And that's what we're at right now. So hopefully the state will start to open up their doors a little bit more here so we can get more people transferred out.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other comments, questions from the prison board before we open it up to members of the public to
Commissioner Pipes, Sheriff, I believe we're taking 4 down next week on Monday, if I'm not correct. I'll double check, but that was the last I heard a day or two ago.
I think it's 5. I think that's the number.
Okay. So we're going to, it's just like the warden said, it's hard. DOC holds us up and everything. So it is what it is right now, I guess.
No, thank you, Sheriff. That's good to know that at least that there is movement in the direction of transferring individuals who have state sentences out of the facility. So that's good to know. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments from prison board of members, we will take any questions or comments from members of the public at this time for any of the monthly reports.
I have a question. Actually, I have 2 questions. I appreciate you asking the question about the state sentenced individuals. My follow-up to that is there any kind of compensation from the Department of Corrections for us housing them in our facility?
There is not any compensation right now. There's it's on our tab per se. It's on our tab right now.
We might, the Prison Society might follow up on that. I'll talk with my colleagues because that doesn't seem right to me. And then my other question had to do with the work report. What does D/C history mean?
Disciplinary. Somebody that's on disciplinary history, disciplinary custody, or historical not following the procedures within the correctional facility. That's continuously getting informals or continue getting misconduct.
Okay, and I guess I'll ask again, as we get reports, could we have acronyms spelled out so that we're not trying to figure out what certain acronyms mean?
I can send you a list, yes.
It just seems like it would be simple to type out CBC. So we know what that is. I mean, I know that one, but I had a question about what, from the minutes of the last meeting, what is DRS?
Yeah.
DRS is domestic relations, Connie.
Okay, and then TASC is another one that was in the minutes, and I don't know what that is either.
I think you may be referring to the drug and alcohol counseling, the task evaluation they do on inmates.
Okay, so my point made. Thanks.
So, in addition to that, we are always happy to collaborate with the Department of Corrections. Always happy to collaborate in any manner. So, yeah, if the Prison Society would want to help out and encourage them to send some payment over our way, we'd be happy for that. But in the minutes, we can certainly ask Denise to spell those out for folks so that they're aware of that. But thank you, Connie. Because we always do have new members, and it's good to have people aware of what those are. So thank you. Thanks for bringing that up.
Don't hold your breath on the money from the
Or
DOD.
not. Sounds like a plan. Any other questions, comments from members of the public on the warden's monthly report?
Michael, this is Mark Fraley. I just wanted to just commend the staff at CCCF. When you think about COVID and how it's spreading and going outside the walls, I think they're doing an awesome job managing it. And yeah, I just wanted to say that. I think we have to comment on that. I think it's spectacular the way they've managed it and kept it in one location. So thank you.
I want to add to that if I can, Mark. As someone who's been monitoring it this year, I want to echo my same sentiments there. What a great job the staff at the CCCF have been doing to make sure that our family members and community members are kept safe in there. Really appreciative of all the hard work and understanding how difficult it is in these times.
Yeah, I mean, we do work across the state, and we work with family members of people in facilities all across the state, and there are some nightmare situations going on in other places. So it just makes me appreciate Center County that much more.
I've said this to Warden Shell before, but we are holding up Center County as an example in many other areas of the state right now.
No, thank you to both Jenna, Nick, and Mark for those comments. We just saw in the paper the other day, Clinton County, what they're going through, and it's very humbling to see that occur. But the benefit of having no cases currently in the facility, and that is a 100% due to the warden, his team, the COs, lieutenants, everybody. I should say currently that we're not aware of any cases, but that is due to their work and their ability to make sacrifices to make this happen. So it's been remarkable. So absolutely. Any other questions or comments from members of the public on the monthly reports? Okay. All right, we're seeing none at this point, so we'll move then on to old business.
Thank you, sir. Just moving on. One comment, I thank everybody for the support. I thank everybody for the nice comments here at the correctional facility, but it's a team effort. It's a collaboration. I can't speak much more that my team, my admin team, my lieutenants, my medical, my officers, it's the officers and everybody that's really doing their job. And that's what we ask every day. Just come in, do your job, listen to the protocol. So, I commend my staff more so than myself. So moving on with the COVID-19 correctional facility operations. Again, all the virtual meetings that's going on there is nothing changed. However, we are adding Christmas caroling and Christmas card making. And actually, Christmas card making is happening today. Everything else there, program, phone call meetings, are continued the same way. In person, Compass for men and women, and we are doing a Christmas cookie decoration. The admin staff is actually going to go back and help the returning citizens to make cookies and to design cookies and so forth. So Programs, again, visiting through the non-contact room meetings is public defender and private attorneys, chaplain service men and women are continually going on. Videos, access church services. We've conducted the absent ballot voting. That's a little old, but that's something that we've done there through videos. Currently, we do not have anything in the wind of going to add at this point. We are looking at different things next year, especially with Maria Hamilton or with Centerpiece with what's the program? Non-conflict resolution. We're looking at bringing that back some way, somehow next year. Not sure when. Going into the future consideration during COVID right now, like I said, we knock on wood. We're holding things at bay right now, and that's due to the staff. So we have no future considerations at this point.
Okay, we'll pause there to discuss any of the questions about virtual programming, the COVID-19 protocols at the facility, but any questions from the Prison Board of Inspectors? We'll start there. Okay, hearing none. Any members? Oh, go ahead, please.
No, I said I'm good, Michael.
Oh, sorry, Commissioner. Thank you. Any questions from any members of the public on or feedback on any of the virtual programming or COVID-19 protocols?
No, just one quick comment from Centerpiece, and I guess on behalf of Marie Hamilton. Marie and I have talked about working out how to do the nonviolent conflict resolution class virtually. Because we can handle it technically. Marie obviously knows the course. So as I work with Marie on that, Warden, I will update you.
Thank you. Just a few other things that we have that I had notes here that we're doing. Still doing the Christmas book reading videos. We'll be taking care of that. We're also doing the Christmas presents. So individuals that have children may come choose a present, wrap it up, and we are more or less going to look at sending it out instead of them coming picking it up due to the current times that we have. So we'll probably just pay for the postage to send it out to the individual's family for them to have the gift at that point. So that'll be coming up in the next week or so.
Would it be okay to add what we're doing, Warden Shell?
Yes, go ahead.
So Go Reentry is having a Christmas celebration depending on COVID. We've had several churches in the community donate gifts, and we gave applications to inmates in CCF, and those who wanted to participate filled it out and got it back to us. So we have we contacted the guardian on the outside, and so we have a note from the parent and gifts from the parent, and we're going to be doing that hopefully on the 15th. And if we have to cancel, we'll deliver them or have them drive through and pick them up. But we're having so far 30 kids. We included recently incarcerated people in it as well. So we're reaching about 14 families and have right around 30 kids. So we're excited to do that. Hope it's a good time.
We appreciate everything that's going on within the facility during the holidays and the Christmas season to keep this Christmas spirit active in there is really terrific. So thanks for everybody for doing that. It's really special. We'll move on to our next item here, going into our new business, and I'll just give a little bit of an insight into this. We had asked the warden and his team to put together some numbers relating to the high points of population in the facility and low points of population in the facility during the pandemic. And we just wanted to kind of look at how that was tracking, where the decreases were, increases were. And we've noticed that the Center County population has increased to pre-pandemic levels. And we were curious about that. And the warden did some digging around and looking into that. And it was regarding the probation. Looked like there were some probation violations that were making up a large, or not a majority, but a significant amount of the Center County incarcerated population at our facility. And so we began a dialogue with the courts to see if there were any reasons behind that, and looking into what we could do to mitigate that if possible. Look at other methods of punishment, intermediate punishment, and so that's setting the stage for this. But we do know that Judge Oliver was going to be looking into this and providing some feedback. And in addition, the warden may have some comments on this as well. But just to set the stage on this discussion. But I'll turn it over to the warden if there's anything that he'd like to comment on about that, and if Judge Oliver would have any updates from the court side and the probation side of things.
Yeah, we don't have much historical data on just our population of who was just probationary violation or parole violation only, or who was parole with a detainer from another county. But we were just curious. We did a snap grab one day and just saw that we had like 40% of our population of Center County population was probation violations only. So we assumed it seemed like a little higher than usual. But like I said, we don't have any historical data that we can relate back to, and that. So that was just one of those things. It just caught us off guard that was so high because Melanie Deputy Warden Gordon came in my office and said, "What do you think the percentage was?" And I guessed around 20%, and she's like, "No, it was 40%." So I was kind of a little shocked with that number, but like I said, we really never looked at historically, and we're trying to go back through now. We're trying to go back through some data that we collected in years past and see if we have some numbers there trying to bring back and try to weigh which is it really high or isn't it really high. But so that's where we're at right now with that. So we're just trying to find historical data right now.
Thank you very much, Warden. And then if Judge Oliver, if there's any perspective you could share or maybe discuss any additional information you would need from the correctional facility, we'd be happy to have an update or perspective from the courts. I know, Judge Oliver, you had said that earlier in the meeting related to there were some audio issues you were having. I'm not sure if we've fixed those yet or you're able to. Looks like you're still part of the call, Judge, but I don't see you. I'm sorry. There she is. Yeah, there's the judge. Yeah, we can see the judge. So, but audio issues as well. Something. Oh no. This is an episode of. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, I could jump in here with not a lot of information, but probably raises
okay
what we ought to be thinking about. I asked Mark Smith the same question. This is just observational information, which isn't reliable. You know, you really do have to jump into the numbers and determine what's going on. He says he's seen an uptick in bench warrants for probation or parole violations. He speculates it might be related to the pandemic and drug and alcohol. But that's I wouldn't put any. That's possible, but that's just an educated guess. Tells me most bench warrants get issued when the defendant absconds, and then they get picked up, and then they're in the prison. There's also a second batch of individuals who are paroled to another state under the Interstate Compact. If they are alleged to have violated, Center County or probation and parole has no choice but to bring them back. So that's a second class of probation holds that you might have, or people that are in jail. And then I would say there's a third there's a third and a fourth. I mean, you have people that are in there that are up for revocation. We see those because the filings get filed. And then there's another, and the warden can kind of give us probably some insight, but there are those who are placed on a hold and eventually released on a hold after some type of an intervention with probation and parole. So there can be a number of things that don't necessarily make it up to the Court of Common Pleas, some that do. And if you really want to define the problem, you're going to have to set some parameters and dive into it. At least that's what I think. The warden's got a better handle on it because he sees them coming in every day, and really, but we don't. So we can only see a little bit of a snapshot.
And that's what, thanks, Bernie. That's what we're talking with now, that we're looking at trying to figure out how we're going to set this up and how we're going to collect the data and go from there. That's what we're trying to work out right now. So once we have a better grab on it or better parameters, I'll reach out to the entities here in Center County, to the judges and so forth, and see if they agree with our parameters, and then we can start trying to collect it and go from there.
I don't think I've successfully fixed this, right?
No, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yay! I obviously would starve as a computer technician. Yeah, I don't disagree with anything that I've heard so far. The warden and I have shared some information, and I've talked with the other judges just to see, to gain their perspective. We're still looking at some things from the probation aspect, and I think that a continuing dialogue makes a lot of sense, is a great idea. I will say that just from the perspective of the judges and what we see coming into the courtroom, and at the point that we are, these cases are hitting our radar, none of us are really seeing I'll say, substantial uptick in revocations. That's not to say that there hasn't been some increase. I do certainly agree with the sentiment that people with substance abuse disorders are really, really struggling at this point in time. I preside over our DUI court, and I see some of the problems that people are having pretty regularly. So I think that accounts for some of it. We don't really have the historical data to be comparing numbers right now. 40% sounds high. I know that's a snapshot. I'm assuming from a particular date. So you need to bear in mind things like, on that particular date, you might have a host of people, and we're mostly talking about parole violations. That's kind of a technical difference, but it is important in the way the law works. They now call it probation with restrictive conditions. It used to be intermediate punishment. We use that a lot in Center County. I think we use it successfully, but you certainly do have violation issues there. And then when you do, you need to go through a process in order to get those cases to where they need to be. That is, whether you're talking about, a sentence of reincarceration, or you're looking at inpatient rehabilitation, or whatever that outcome will be, you have to have evaluations take place. The task was mentioned. I'm terrible with acronyms, and Connie, I understand your frustration. I think that stands for treatment alternatives for safer communities, but it's part of the the regulatory and statutory framework for what needs to happen to be able to sentence people, or to be able to figure out what that outcome will be, and sometimes whether there will even be a revocation. Those things take time. In a perfect world, and certainly in a pandemic, things are slowed down. So you may actually see, if we had the data to compare historically, I wouldn't be surprised to see some increase in the numbers on any particular day, because there's more lag time involved to get a case through. You've got people awaiting other charges. Sometimes they're trying to get a package deal, with the revocation plus the new charges, and because of delays, we are working on moving things. I don't want to give the wrong impression, but there are unavoidable delays right now. People are, working remotely, offices are closed, all those kinds of things. So I think it's that's a lengthy explanation, and my apology for that, but it is multifactorial, I will say. I think that, again, it's an important conversation to be having, to make sure that we're really looking at all these issues and addressing, any of those pieces that we can, to make sure that nobody's just kind of languishing, and that we don't have an overcrowded population for reasons that are unnecessary. So hope that helps.
It absolutely does, Judge. Thank you so much for that. Much agree that an ongoing conversation would be effective, helpful. and that we can monitor that increase as we come forward. But thank you for those details. Absolutely helpful. Thank you. Any other comments or questions, feedback on this before we proceed? Okay. Hearing none, we will then move into our monthly reports, and we will go first to Carrie Hull, our Director of Criminal Justice Planning. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning. No new updates from my department today unless anyone has any questions.
Any questions for Carrie?
Just one comment, which is thank you for promoting the webinar last night. It was extremely educational. I know a couple of us who are attending this meeting was on it, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you for participating. I was pretty happy with the number of attendees. We had about 49 at one point, and I think we had just over 70 register. So that was a really good outcome. But it was recorded, and as soon as they clean up the audio, we'll post that, and I'll share that with all of my listservs, CJAB, Reentry, HOPE. But it was HOPE's attempt to have a virtual event this year. We normally do a lot of community events with the HOPE initiative, and we were scheduled to have a very large speaker series, several events over the course of the year, and that of course couldn't happen. So the grant will still continue next year, and hopefully we can have some in-person events, but we partner with the University of Pittsburgh, and they were very helpful in getting speakers and putting that on for us. So I think it was a huge success, and glad that we could record it and we can share it because it was helpful information.
Okay, thank you very much, Carrie. We will then go to our Prison Society members and turn it over to them for any comments at this time.
I'm not sure that Janet is on, but I did check with her yesterday, and as far as, unless Mark has something, we have no report.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Connie, Mark, everybody from the Prison Society. We will then turn it over to Kathy from Centerpiece. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Centerpiece had our Thanksgiving meal. Typically, we do an evening meal, but because of COVID, not wanting to have extra exposure, extra risk, we did something at noon. And we learned that while that worked out perfectly, tryptophan hits in the afternoon and then no work gets done. So I don't know that we'll continue with a big Thanksgiving meal at noon next year. We have sent out thousands of cards for our Christmas cards for inmates program. They are out now being distributed. The goal of that, which was started by Marie Hamilton many, many years ago, is that everyone who's incarcerated gets mail during the holiday season. They at least get a hand-drawn card. So those have been distributed. We have a new leader for Prayer Mates. So that is still an ongoing program. Once again, that has been coordinated for years by Centerpiece. I am in the process of creating, and I don't know if there's anything currently at the correctional facility about this. I want to do it for our own returning citizens who come to Centerpiece. It's a course on communication, because one of the things that I've learned over the last year is that returning citizens have a real problem communicating. We recently had a situation where an individual thought he had communicated that he didn't have a home plan. In fact, he hadn't communicated that, and as a result, he's staying longer trying to, now that CCCF is aware, they have jumped on full force and they're working with him. But in his mind, he thought he had communicated that. It just turned into a mess. That is absolutely nobody's fault, but it can be blamed on ineffective communication. And I've seen that multiple times. So that's something that I wanted to work on. Teaching better communication skills. And like I said, I don't know if there's anything like that currently taught now, but it's something that I'm working on for Centerpiece. Also, just a really quick to touch base on the Center County Community Conferencing Program that Centerpiece is doing in partnership with CACJ. It's on. I mean, we're working towards that. We're going to be in the process pretty soon of looking for one of the coordinators for that program, and we're just very, very excited about the possibilities of how that will positively impact our community. So that's my report.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Any questions, feedback, thoughts for Kathy?
One thing, Commissioner Pipe, Kathy, yes, in our Compass program, we are doing more communicating skills. So that would beneficial if you would piggyback on that as well with our returning citizens that's coming down to you to work with you. But they are trying to work with the individuals in our Compass program for that communication. But we can use all the help we can need. Your Christmas cards, I will be handing those out on Christmas morning. I'll be in here handing out gifts out to the returning citizens that morning, and they'll be getting their cards that morning.
Wonderful, thank you.
And just to offer as well, the Board of Commissioners was honored to proclaim and have Kathy and Evelyn Wald at our meeting to highlight that project they were working on and had a proclamation for them. And we were very excited about this. Really a community-wide effort to have more dialogue and more understanding. So very pleased with that, and happy to see it going forward at full speed. So thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we would then be we're at the end of our meeting. Any other announcements or anything that we needed to discuss prior to adjourning? Anything else from any of the prison board members or the staff at the correctional facility? Okay. Hearing none, at 9:02, we would look for a motion to adjourn the meeting. And we do have a message from our DA. We have a Facebook message.
Before moving to adjourn, just want to let you know that we're working with the local Y here in Bellefonte. Hats, gloves, children's books for the kids. Information is on that post. You can call our office email. We'll come down, we'll pick it up, and we'll distribute it to the Y on the 23rd. So if you don't mind sharing that on your platforms, that would be great. And with that, I would move to adjourn.
Would there be a second?
Second.
Second.
Judge Oliver, we'll give the second to Judge Oliver. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Have a Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. We will see you in January. Take care, everybody.